And now let's try and tune in to no good music from an undisclosed location somewhere in New Jersey. That style, playing guitar.
When that comes on, you're out on the dance floor.
Sammy still rocks, man.
Am I going to listen to this again?
And that's definitely going to be a theme.
You can't make this shit up.
No.
Hello once again, this is Rob.
And Jeremy.
And we are on show 46. And we have yet another Elvis podcast.
Hey.
Thank you very much. And we are going to be talking about the 1963 movie, It Happened at the World's Fair.
Starring Elvis Presley.
Yes. I've never seen that movie, just like the other one
I never saw it either.
This is Jeremy's second movie.
Second Elvis
in one
movie.
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to hit the trifecta. No, just kidding. We're not.
Maybe next year we'll watch a couple more.
There you go.
Before we start, we're going to go over some new music. Now, the last couple months or the beginning of the year, there weren't that many new albums that came out. And all of a sudden, this weekend, the beginning of June, we have all these albums that we're going to talk about. We've got the new Foo Fighters. I don't know if you had a chance to listen.
The new Foo Fighters. Literally.
But here we are.
Literally, there's new Foo Fighters. Or
Yeah.
at least a new Foo Fighter.
Yes. I really like this album. I can't say I'm a huge Foo Fighter fan. I mean, I like the songs, but I don't think I've ever owned an album.
Interesting. I love the Foo Fighters. It's one of my favorite, current bands. And I have heard the new album, but I only played it once at work, so I didn't get a good feel for it yet. I got to listen to it a few times.
But my favorite song is a song called Under You. And I originally thought it was about Kurt Cobain. I mean, I guess it's really about Taylor Hawkins,
Okay.
their drummer who passed away. But if you listen to it, you can it sounds like it could be about Kurt Cobain, but that was so long ago, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, it was 92, I think, 93.
Yeah, so that would make more sense that it was about Taylor Hawkins. The lyrics are great. And it's sad when you really listen to it. Like the one lyric, someone said, "I'll never see your face again. Part of me just can't believe it's true." But I also like Nothing at All. And it's weird because there's a guitar part in here that reminds me of this old song called Love is Like Oxygen.
You get too much, you get too high.
Yeah, there's that guitar riff in there. And that was a band called Sweet.
Yeah. You probably know Ballroom Blitz by them.
Yeah. So those are two songs I like from them. We also have Rival Sons, Dark Fighter. The cover's cool. It's a neon tiger on the cover. Two songs on there, Nobody Wants to Die and Guillotine. Two really rockin' hard songs. And we got Joan Jett has a new EP called Mindsets. And the song If You're Blue, that was one of the first singles she put out. I like that song. And Make the Music Go Boom. That's the last track on the album. I think there's 6 songs on that. But pretty much sounding like Joan Jett, you know?
Yeah. She don't give a crap about her bad reputation.
No, she doesn't. We got... now, this band is... I think I found them maybe last year, called The Warning. I think their album just came out, but there's a song called More that was the single they put out. So very, very hard rock. One of the first videos they put out was for Metallica's Enter Sandman. The drummer was 12 years old. And these are three sisters. They're from Monterrey, Mexico. At the time, this was in 2014, so 9 years ago. But they were between 9 and 14 years old when they put out that first video. But you can look up that video on YouTube, the Metallica song. Check them out. I'm not a big fan of Greta Van Fleet, but they have a new one out.
See, I enjoy their music a lot.
Well, their album comes out July 21st. The thing is, I like them, but I feel I can't tolerate too much listening to them. I don't know if it's the guy's voice, and I like Led Zeppelin.
They sound so similar.
But I can only listen to so much from them. So their new album's going to be called Starcatcher. Now, there's a song on there that, I don't have the name of the song, but the drums sound like When the Levee Breaks.
Ooh, love that song.
Well, just the drum. They use the same drum pattern.
Okay.
Someone pointed out. Let's see, what else we got? This is someone that I used to like, Ben Folds. He had Ben Folds 5.
Uh-huh.
What Matters Most. I listened, because these albums, a lot of these albums just came out, so I was trying to listen to what I could. But I listened to the first 2 or 3 songs and just wasn't feeling it.
Happens sometimes.
There's one song on there that's kind of interesting called Exhausting Lover. It's kind of like Blink-182 meets Cake. Kind of quirky song. I'm sure he put out albums, recently I haven't listened to, but there's no piano. It's more like pop. I like his voice, and I don't know. I just, like I said, I listened to the first 3 or 4 songs and couldn't get past it. There's a new artist, fairly new, called Bully. Lucky for You. Kind of like Hole meets, and if you know Emil and the Sniffs, it's kind of that sound. She's from Nashville. I guess it's a band, but it is a girl, Alicia. I can't even read my own handwriting. Hognano, I think her name is. Then I just noticed, and again, this is all in one week. Ben Harper, who I like. I didn't get a chance to really listen to the album, but he has a song in there with Jack Johnson. Noel Gallagher has another album with the high-flying birds called Council Skies. And Daniel Radcliffe in the Night Sweats has an EP out. So check those out. And I want to talk a little bit about, lastly, Dolly Parton. Mm-hmm. So Dolly Parton was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. At first, she declined, and then she changed her mind because she's, not rock and roll. And then she said she was going to record a rock album. So the album is not going to be released till November 17th. So I'm sure we'll talk about it once it's out. Mm-hmm. But there's some interesting, it's all duets. But she got some people back in the studio who probably haven't recorded some of their songs in a long time. She does Wrecking Ball with Miley Cyrus. Mm-hmm. She does Freebird. It says with Leonard Skinner, but there's not many people original. Mm-hmm. But one person who we did see perform at Chiller Autograph Show, Artemis Pyle, is on this song.
Awesome.
Playing drums. Ronnie Van Zant was the original singer. He died in a plane crash. And Johnny Van Zant, which is Ronnie's brother, who is the lead singer, I didn't see that he's even on this song. So maybe just Dolly and Artemis are singing it.
Interesting.
The big one, I think, is Let It Be, with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr.
Awesome.
So for them to go back in and record that. Mm-hmm. The one song that I think should be omitted is Kid Rock is on this.
I'm a Kid Rock fan, so I'll challenge your statement.
Okay.
What are they performing?
I think it's called Either Or. I don't even know the song. There's there's 3 new Dolly Parton songs, including a song called I Dreamed About Elvis. Then there's a re-recording from her 8th album, My Blue Tears, the song, with Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran. So there's 30 songs on this. This is her 49th album.
Wow, that's awesome.
She's trying to rival Willie Nelson, who I think is at number 70, believe it or not. So check out those. Like I said, Dolly doesn't come out till November, but there's a lot of new good music here. And
not to be confused with no good music.
Yeah. We try to know good music. Music is, you listen to it, you like it, or you don't.
Right.
And I don't really like to put down people who like music that I don't like, like Jeremy, who likes Kid Rock. But, if you like Kid Rock and it makes you happy, it's a good thing,
Yep.
Now we got some new music books that have come out this year. Oh, before that, we're going to try a new beer.
Oh, okay.
Now, this doesn't have to do with Elvis.
It's an interesting looking can, though.
This is
like a goblin on there. What is that thing?
It's a cat with 3 eyes.
Okay.
Forgotten Boardwalk. And it's out of Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Okay.
Now, this is a reference to a Bruce Springsteen song. The beer is called The Cops Finally Busted Madame Marie. Okay. And then on the back you see Madame Marie. And it says Sandy, because Sandy is in the song.
Oh, okay.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la, baby, on here. Yeah. So that's an ode to Bruce. We're going to try this. And it's a lime lager. And it's going to go all over. No. Expect it to be green. It's not green.
Now we could just use some popcorn and
penis and popcorn.
Yeah. Kind of tastes like a Bud Lime.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. So if you like lime beer,
we still have George with us here,
and you don't want to buy a Budweiser, the cops finally busted Madame Marie,
which is
Forgotten Boardwalk.
Probably more expensive than a Budweiser.
Yeah, it is. These are like
it's a specialty beer.
$4.50.
The can alone is a collector's item.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about music books. We have a book that came out April 4th, and I don't know if you ever heard of the magazine Kerrang.
No.
It was a rock music magazine. They put out a book called Kerrang! Living Loud, 4 decades on the front line of rock, metal, punk, and alternative music. And this is by Kerrang! And Nick Ruskell. 240 pages, $28. Relive the greatest moments in the last 40 years of hardcore, punk, and metal with this incredible book by Kerrang! Alternative music's most trusted publication. And this year-by-year review of the greatest artists and moments in metal and alternative.
Okay.
Then we have one that came out April 11th, Acid Detroit, a psychedelic story of Motor City music by Joe Molloy. This is in paperback, 176 pages, $12.99. Acid Detroit tells the story of Motor City through its revolutionary music past and present in order to find the seeds of radical transformation among its ruins. It says the book is an exhilarating Technicolor view of Detroit's musical and social history from the 1960s to the present day. This one's pretty interesting. This came out April 18th. It's H.R. Geiger, the guy that created the alien, from Aliens. He created the creatures.
Okay.
H.R. Geiger.
Uh-huh.
And what does this have to do with music? Well, it's Debbie Harry Metamorphosis, creating a visual concept for Cuckoo, which was her album. And it's also by Chris Stein. He contributes, he's the guitarist, for Blondie. Introduction by Debbie Harry. It's 192 pages. The list price is $75 on this, but it is on Amazon for $48, I think, currently. It's 10.5 inches by 13, so it's oversized. So it's a beautiful coffee table art book chronicling the extraordinary collaboration between Debbie Harry and H.R. Geiger for Harry's 1981 solo album Cuckoo, and photographs and words by Chris Stein, artifacts and sketches from the Geiger archive. It says this is an essential behind-the-scenes insight into the processes of an incredible creative partnership. And then we have our last one here, Holding the Note by David Remnick. And this is a hardcover, 304 pages, $30, came out May 23rd. The Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and editor of The New Yorker gathers his writing on some of the essential musicians of our time. Intimate portraits of Leonard Cohen, Buddy Guy, Mavis Staples, Paul McCartney, Bruce Springsteen, Patti Smith, and more. So there you go.
All right.
You want to do some summer reading? Okay, so we're going to get into the Elvis movie. Actually, before that, the movie It happened at the World's Fair. So I want to talk a little bit about the World's Fair. Now, the movie is 1963, Seattle. But I was actually at World's Fair in 1982 in Knoxville, Tennessee, with my parents. And the tie-in to Elvis is we also visited Nashville and Memphis. Mm-hmm. And it was the first year that Graceland opened.
Oh, wow.
And we went there. Graceland opened on June 7th. I don't know what date we were there, but I know it was the summer. So it was could have been July, August.
Right.
So I was 16 years old. But during our vacation, we went to the World's Fair. It was officially known as the Knoxville International Energy Exposition. It focused on energy and electricity generation with the theme, Energy Turns the World. So the fair opened on May 1st and closed on October 31st. So it was there for a while. It received 11 million visitors.
Wow.
And it was the second World's Fair to be held in the state of Tennessee. The first was in 1897. Which was held in Nashville. The fair was constructed on a 70-acre site between downtown Knoxville and the University of Tennessee campus. Opening day, they had a crowd of 87,000 people. So here's some interesting things. Now, unfortunately, I don't remember. I remember being there. I don't remember seeing any concerts. There were performers there because they had Bob Hope, not on the same day, but during the fair, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Johnny Cash, Chet Atkins, Hal Holbrook was there, Glenn Campbell, Ricky Skaggs as performers. Now, here's some innovations. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory physicist George Samuel Hurst showcased his patented resistive touchstone technology that was developed in 1975. Visitors were able to use computers with the touch screen technology.
Oh, cool.
In 1982.
That had to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. You know, we don't have World's Fairs anymore. And I would love to go to something that had new invention. I mean, well, we do have, I take that back because we do have conventions that electronics and that stuff. I would love to go to one of those to try out brand new stuff that I can't afford.
Yet. Right.
You know. Now, Coca-Cola organized a measure of several flavored mixtures of its traditional Coke. Visitors could test lime, lemon, vanilla, and cherry flavors. By the end of the festival, Coca-Cola found that the cherry-flavored soda was the most popular. So this was the first time they tried out cherry cola.
That's pretty cool.
And as a result, it would be distributed in 1985. I could have had a cherry Coke. I don't know. Could have had the first cherry Coke. Oil Corporation Texaco showcased the concept of pay at the pump as part of the advances in energy. An early rendition of the cordless telephone was introduced to the public. And the Ford Motor Company showcased a Lincoln Town Car with a built-in car phone and a concept car known as the AFV, which relied on alternative fuel consumption. And then also one last thing, 1 hour photographic processing was introduced by Kodak, and used by visitors at the fair. Now, the fair was not successful at all, and you're going to think I'm making this up, but remember, there were over 11 million visitors, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They made a profit of $57.
Wow.
Far short of the $5 million surplus projected by the organizers. The city of Knoxville was left with a $46 million debt. And the debt wouldn't be paid off till May 2007. So maybe that's why we don't have world fairs.
Maybe.
Anymore. Okay, so let's talk about the movie. Happened at the World's Fair.
Elvis in color.
This movie opened in Los Angeles, or premiered April 3rd, 1963. Opened nationally April 10th. This was Elvis's 12th movie. And Elvis made a lot of movies because the first movie, our last podcast, was his second movie. And we're talking 5 years later.
Yep.
And it's his 12th movie. So that's 10 movies, in between.
Yep.
It was ranked number 55 for the year on Variety's list of movies. That doesn't sound good to me. And earlier titles were Take Me Out to the Fair and Take Me to the Fair. The film did make $2.25 million box office. The thing is, I read a lot of the Elvis movies cost around $2 million. So that's not really a big profit. And I think Elvis was getting at least 100,000. Yeah, like 200,000. So they kind of almost broke even, I would say.
Right.
This was filmed in Seattle, and it was an actual World's Fair, the site of the Century 21 exposition, which we saw a lot in the movie. Yeah. Even where they're staying in the little houses said Century 21. And the governor of Washington at the time suggested the setting to MGM executives that they filmed there. So here's the cast. We got Elvis, of course, as Mike Edwards. And he is a crop dusting pilot. And Gary Lockwood is his partner, who has a gambling problem. Gary Lockwood was in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Not sure what else he was in. He is still alive. He's 85. Joan O'Brien, she plays Diane. She's a nurse at the fair that Mike is kind of honing in on. Now, she retired. She was 27, around there in this film. And she retired at around 28, so she retired soon after from films. Now, the little girl, there's a little, what would you say, Vietnamese or...
Yeah.
She might be Hawaiian, only because of what I'm going to tell you. But her name was Vicky Tu, Tiu, and she became the first lady of Hawaii from 97 to 2002. So she married the governor of Hawaii, which I think she's still married to. Yeah. We have Yvonne Craig, who was Batgirl in the Batman TV series. She was also in another Elvis movie, Kissing Cousins. Very cute in this movie. Very, like, Jeremy and I talked about, or Jeremy mentioned, she should have been the main.
She should have been the lead nurse.
Yeah. Because the nurse didn't really have any charisma, I don't know, you didn't really feel it that much.
No.
We got Kurt Russell, believe it or not, who is, how old I say he was? He's probably 6 or 8.
Yeah, I think he said 8.
It's his film debut. And Elvis had a couple buddies in this movie, which I didn't. Red West as Fred. He's uncredited. He's the cousin of Sonny West, but it was Elvis's bodyguard. He was part of the Memphis Mafia. Have you ever heard of the Memphis Mafia, Jeremy?
I've heard of the Memphis Mafia.
That's what he called his group of friends.
Right.
Joe Esposito says Carnival Man, uncredited. He was Elvis's road manager and also part of the Memphis Mafia. He also met Elvis when he was in the Army. Elvis, that would have been 1958. So he put him, I don't know if maybe he put these guys in his movies more,
right.
Other movies.
Right.
The plot of the movie, we start out with Elvis and his buddy who has like a gambling problem, but they own a plane and they do crop dusting. Yeah. And because of the gambling problem of his friend, what's his name? Danny?
Yeah, Danny. Burke, I think.
They lose the plane because they owe
$1,200.
Seems like they owe the town or something.
Yeah.
Because the cop seizes the plane.
Yeah, I don't know. He kind of confiscates their plane.
Yeah.
Gives them 2 weeks to pay up.
So they start hitchhiking, and it's not really confusing, but at first it was confusing. But then I figured he mentions he has a friend who somehow is near the World's Fair. I don't know why they're going to the World's Fair.
I think that's just where the driver was going. And
okay.
Along the way, they're like, oh, wait a second, I might know somebody there.
And then the weird thing is the driver, who is the little girl's uncle, he gets a call, and he's got to go off somewhere. And he leaves the little girl with Danny.
And Elvis.
Who are
Mike. Total strangers.
Yeah.
Hitchhikers that he picked up off the road.
But as soon as they get into the fairgrounds there, Elvis has his eyes on some woman walking by, of course. And she turns out to be a nurse. But he gets a kid to kick him in the leg, which is Kurt Russell. He pays him a quarter to kick him in the leg. So I have a little interesting thing in that. So, of course, in the movie, he gives him a quarter. In real life, Kurt was hesitant to kick Elvis. I mean, I'm sure he knew it was Elvis. So Elvis gave him $5 to kick him.
Wow.
Oh, Kurt was 11.
Okay.
Elvis was 27. And then, interesting enough, years later, in 1979, Kurt would play Elvis in the movie Elvis. And Kurt was 27, the same age as Elvis.
Wow.
When he met him.
Interesting.
So this movie was, first of all, it's in color, unlike the King Creole that we watched. And I don't know, I think we really like King Creole over this movie.
Yes.
There wasn't too much going on. I think the whole plot was them trying to get their plane back or something. Or
trying to get the money to get their plane, pretty much.
And Elvis just trying to get with the nurse.
But he's also falling in love with the little girl. Yeah. Not like literally falling in love with, but like feeling like a father to this girl.
And I don't think the songs were that strong.
I didn't like the musical selection for this movie.
And there's one weird scene after a day at the fair with the little girl. She's exhausted, and I think they're on the monorail. And it's just Elvis and her. She's got this freaky stuffed animal that it's between a dog and a lobster.
It's a lobster dog.
Yeah, it's a red stuffed dog with it doesn't look like arms. It looks, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, Elvis is singing, the girl's asleep. It's just a weird, I think they could have edited that out. We didn't.
Yeah, that was a very weird scene.
He could have just walked out of the park with her on it, like carrying her, and she was asleep, and then show him bringing her back, and we didn't need, I don't know, it was just weird.
Yeah.
Because normally Elvis sings to people who are awake, I think. I think that's the whole, I don't know.
Well, twice he sang to her to sleep.
Yeah, okay.
Once he sang to put her to sleep, and once he sings while she's sleeping.
I think he sang to Priscilla in real life to put her to sleep. No, I don't. I'm making that up. Yeah. I don't even know if I'd give this another watch. You know,
I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna give it like a 4 out of 10. Yeah. So of course his friend There's a lot of, for some reason, I get this house. His friend gets it for 2 weeks.
Right.
I guess free because they have no money.
Yeah, there's like a lot of unanswered questions that just like happen.
Yeah. Oh, and then the uncle disappears.
Right.
And then we find out that he was in a accident.
Yeah.
With a truck, I guess.
But the girl
landed in the swamp or something.
Yeah, the girl ends up back at the World's Fair. She just happens to run into Elvis. She stays with him for who knows how long. I
think where they were staying was maybe close enough that you could walk there.
Yeah.
Because it said Century 21 Estates or something. So I think it was part of the World's Fair. So that kind of makes sense a little bit. Yeah, and his friend meets this guy that I guess lives there. I don't understand the housing there. I don't know if it was for the people that worked at the fair or these permanent residents. There's a guy he finds, I guess, isn't good at gambling.
Yeah.
So he's trying to...
Well, it's weird. There's like 7 of them that are like gambling degenerates.
Yeah.
They're just like itching to roll the dice or deal the cards.
Yeah.
Like every time you see these people, that's all they're doing.
And then Danny towards the end gets a deal with, I guess, a guy he's been looking for that could, get him some money because they owe $1,200. And then they have to transport something. They don't know what it is. And it's this little plane. Right. But I guess there is a cargo hold, which we do find out there is, but it's not that big. And then at the end, Elvis is kind of suspicious, and he opens the bag and it's furs.
Yeah. They're like smuggling furs into Canada.
Yeah. I guess you couldn't get fur, and a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then the last song is, I think, let's look at the soundtrack here.
I think it was Happy Ending.
Well, yeah. Okay, so let's get into the soundtrack. So this is the 6th soundtrack by Elvis. So I take it, since this was his 12th movie, that they didn't do I just assumed they did a soundtrack for every movie.
Right.
But if this is the 6th and his 12th movie, he didn't do a soundtrack
right
for every movie.
I don't know.
So there's 10 songs on the soundtrack, and 2 of the standout songs are written by one of Elvis's favorite songwriters. His name was Don Robertson. He wrote, "They Remind Me Too Much of You," and "I'm Falling in Love Tonight." Now, there's an odd fact about Don Robertson I found.
Okay.
So besides this album, he also lent his piano playing skills to the Disney theme park attraction Country Bear Jamboree.
Oh, okay.
At Disneyland, Disney World, and Tokyo Disneyland. Yeah. The other notable songwriter is Otis Blackwell. He wrote "One Broken Heart for Sale." Actually, I like that song. That's a good song. I think that's the song he was singing on the porch when he came. She went to sleep. The little girl went to, I don't know, he was on the porch of the house singing it. Not to anybody, to himself. So Otis Blackwell also wrote with Winfried Scott, "Return to Sender," another Elvis song. That's not on this album. Otis also wrote "Great Balls of Fire," "Don't Be Cruel," "All Shook Up," and also a song, I don't know if you know this song, called "Handyman." It was made famous by James Taylor.
I might have
I Want to
heard
Be
it.
Your Handyman. I like that song. So "One Broken Heart for Sale" and "They Remind Me Too Much of You" would be released ahead of time on January 29th to promote both the album and the film. And "One Broken Heart for Sale" was the first RCA single of Presley's career that did not make the top 5.
Oh, wow.
In 2003, It Happened at the World's Fair was reissued on the Follow That Dream edition, contained the original album with numerous alternate takes. So we have 10 songs: "Beyond the Bend," "Relax," "Take Me to the Fair," They Remind Me Too Much of You, One Broken Heart for Sale, Falling in Love Tonight, Cotton Candy Land, World of Our Own, How Would You Like to Be, and Happy Ending, which ends the movie with like a parade through the park. I don't know if I recommend seeing this one. I just think there's better. Like I haven't seen every Elvis movie, but there's better movies than this one.
Of the two that I watched,
it's amusing. If you don't have anything else to watch, I don't know how anyone would not have anything else to watch. But
right.
Yeah, so that's our review of the Elvis movie. And we'll be back in July with another podcast and hopefully an interview. We didn't do an interview this month. Matt and I will be back for the interview, and Jeremy will be back. I think Jeremy will be back for the podcast. Well, it'll either be Mike and me or Jeremy and me.
All right.
So thanks for listening today. Hope you learned a lot, and you'll hear us again soon.
There you go. Sounds good.
You've been listening to No Good Music, intro and exit music by the band 99%. Today's show is produced and edited by Rob J. Lilly and recorded at the Did You Say 7 Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find No Good Music on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Pandora, and almost anywhere you listen to podcasts.